Hits and Crits. This video is brought to you by Trading Goblin.
What's up, Hits and Crits family? Welcome back to another Season 4 review. This time I went down the rabbit hole back to the black cells of King's Landing. It's a little dark here. No, I'm in Munich actually, in a hotel room. So different setting this time, but perfect setting. What did you say, Randall? A little moody?
Yeah, it's a little mood lighting you got in there.
You've seen better days, my lord.
Well, the lighting isn't perfect, but we can still make it work. So today, as I said, King's Landing, we are talking about the Lannisters. Small changes, little changes, but let's see what Randall and I can do with them. So we will start with the universal changes first. So we will take a look at Kevin Lannister. So Kevin Lannister got his Might of Throne his attachment got changed. His Might of Throne ability got reduced from attack to melee attack and charge, which makes which we already mentioned once, which takes away all those builds where you put him in crossbows and you have this like minigun standing on the table, like shooting all the time, and like maybe 3, 4 times sometimes. So we got rid of that, and his tactics cards, predictable maneuvers, got also changed to it must be used right in the beginning of the round, which made which is also, from my point of view, a good change, since predictable maneuvers was all the time pulled out last when there was one tactic zone open and one one NCU with one tactic zone and one unit open, and then you always pulled that off. So I think in terms of like how fair the game is and how balanced it is, it's a good change that there is a way around it at least. And there should be one way that your opponent can choose to go around it, because like earlier it was not the case. You just have to, eat it. So yeah, that's the changes on Kevin attachment and the tactics card. Is there anything you want to like say about that, Randall?
Yeah, so I'll work backwards. So the predictable maneuvers, I think, is good. It's like you said, a lot of people would use it. They'd hang on to it till the very last couple of activations when the opponent literally had no choice but to trigger the effect, and then it just feels bad when you're completely backed into a corner as a player and you have no options at all and you're just being manhandled basically. So at least now I think it's kind of matching closer to the intent that the developers probably had, where it's something you fire off at the start of the round when the other guy is going to probably try to take the combat zone to get a free attack on a certain specific unit. So you can just tell that player, like, kind of what the Lannisters are all about. Like, hey, I know you had a plan of what you wanted to do, but sorry, that's not going to work. Or if you want to do it, it's going to really hurt. So I think it's more fair now that you actually have some choice in what you do. You can go you can choose violence and go the path of pain, or you can choose something else. So I like the change. It's good. And then the change of the Kevin attachment is also good, because I don't think anybody liked Lannister crossbow machine gun builds. Even the people who played them didn't like them. I know during that whole era on my channel, I think I think every single Lannister battle report on my channel has been a Lannister crossbow build. Unless I'm missing one, I think almost every Lannister battle report on my channel, if not every single one, was a Kevin crossbow
thing.
Crossbow list, and it's just they weren't fun for anybody. So I'm happy to see that has changed.
Yeah, I think that the change, or this universal change, made them thematically better. So right, it's a control faction, and you should have the feeling of they're trying to influence my strategy here. So I mean, it used to be like this before, but you just, as we said, like there was no way out of that, and now you're under this control thing where you have to decide, right? So it also brings down Kevin to a more to the more regular power level of all the other commanders. That's what I like about it. So we basically got rid of him being in most of Lannister lists, because all his 3 tactics cards were really wild. All 3 were.
Yeah.
And now with predictable maneuvers got nerfed down, it got a little bit more normal. I think he's still an incredible commander. I think now he just has to take other units where he's in. So, and one thing I really see in the future is cutthroats. It used to be like that before. It was a good combo before, but I guess the crossbow combo was better. But now with the charge and the attack, cutthroats can really be a thing, because cutthroats are a little bit squishy, right? But through Lannister supremacy, they get quite defensive. So it's a cool combo, and I'm pretty sure we will see that in the future. Yeah, so that's on Kevin. Then we have the mountain, Gregor Clegane. What did you say once? That 120 pound? No. What did you say?
Like the 500 pound.
500 pound.
War
yeah,
criminal. War criminal in the room.
War criminal.
You seem to be in good form.
Who am I fighting?
Does that matter?
Exactly. So Gregor Clegane, he again, the overrun order got changed, so he's more versatile in terms of he does not have to like immediately charge into something else. He can also do a march, which I in general feel good about. I also feel that Gregor can, he does not need help in the current meta, but still in general the overrun order changed is a good thing for we discussed last week, we discussed Martells, especially for them. It's a good thing to be even more quick, to be more versatile, to be more on everywhere on the battlefield. And also for Gregor, if you are focusing on just charging and killing things, it gives you a little bit more options. And I think that's good for the game. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it opens up more opportunities for Gregor lists. Now you can see, he's always been good in like pyromancers, but now you can see like charging in with a unit of pyromancers, popping the unit, and then marching into the flank or the rear of another unit, and then lobbing wildfire into their flank or rear as a short range attack. So yeah, I think it's a good change overall throughout the game, and Gregor is no exception. It definitely helps him.
Yeah. All right. So that's already it with attachments and commander tactics cards or tactics cards in general. So let's jump to combat units. I think the most incredible change is the Kingsguard. Kingsguard always been 6 points. You always have your Joffrey in there, which basically enables you to do free marches and like being maneuverable. So that's always been the case, which I always liked. I see, or I saw in the past a lot of combos like the Kingsguard with Joffrey, like marching for free, pulling off that exact right moment, looking at the unit where the turncoat is in, and Tivin 6-point NCU was right off the on the tactics board. So a lot of players did. The combo was you pop Tivin and do a lot of wounds to this one unit. Then you pop the turncoat, another wound. You can play tactics cards, and then you charge in with a Kingsguard. That's basically a dead unit. So if you do that, if you can pull that off, great thing. So this Kingsguard now got even 1 better morale. So they went down to 4 morale, and their Iron Resolve, which is in general a good ability, got changed into Resilience, coherent to the Rainbow Guard. So which is good. So the both units are now pretty similar. Like the Rainbow Guard has its Relic Cry. They have the Kingsguard still has their Counter Strike, which is also a good ability. Not as good like if they would have Disrupt like the veterans, then it would be incredible. Counter Strike is still a thing where you have to think about, right? When, you know, everyone who played against Wardens knows the feeling of, should I hit them? You know, they're on, you know, such and such defense, and they might hit back. This is something you have to consider. So I think it fits the Kingsguard. So what I like, the last thing I see on the Kingsguard now, I think they're in a really, really good spot for 6 points. And we also have to think about the banners, the Baratheon banners, which are like highly versatile and highly flexible in terms of like healing, dealing more damage. So together with resilience, the banners, and the 4 morale, this unit can quite take a punch now. And you don't have to worry as much as before that they just like end up in a bad spot and being killed. That won't happen from a first charge or one blow. So you're still good, even if you did one little position error, you will still have that unit. So what do you think?
Yeah, no, yeah, they're, like you said, they're mostly the same as the Rainbow Guard, and we said, you know, we gave praise to the Rainbow Guard in our Baratheon overview. Counter-Strike is still good. I think having resilience on them is kind of buffs their Counter-Strike a bit, because you can, now these guys can take more hits than they could before. So there's more opportunities for them to get beat up more in one melee. You know, if there's a couple of units attacking them in one round, that Counter-Strike is probably going to trigger a couple of times. And then Lannisters already want to be throwing weakened tokens out a lot, so those, you know, the Counter-Strike can really get some work done. So
bad,
yeah, no, they're good. I've heard some people say like they wish the Kingsguard could be taken with more than just Joffrey. You know, like if you could take them with Tywin or take them with Tyrion or something. Maybe that's something the developers can look at later in the future. Just like Rainbow Guard could be taken with the various different Renly versions, or with a couple of the Renlys at least. I think Renly 2, there might be this is going down in the nerd hole, but there might be some conflicts with a couple of the Rainbow Guard would have been dead in the story by the time that Renly 2 popped his head out of thin air. But yeah, no, I like the change. It's good. I think the Kingsguard are kind of underused in the game, so I'm always happy to see them get more table time.
That's true. Yeah. So we have to wait for tactics, so everyone can mash up everything together, so we can play, you know, whatever we like with whichever, right? So
put this game in the blender and see what comes out.
Yeah, exactly. No, maybe not. I don't know. I don't know. We really don't know, and we don't want to like go that tactics path. But
that'll be another video.
That will be another video. But I'm really excited about the what might come across. So I'm not. I like, in general, I really like to stay in certain lores or to stay in a certain timeline in general. But I think it's a fair point if you just say, you know, I don't really care. I just want to have this like this song experience, and I want to take Robert Baratheon, even though he's not, you know, it's the young Robert Baratheon. He should not be there at that point in time. But you know, I think there should be both ways. You just have to decide with your opponent, right? So okay.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. So that brings us to the Lannisport City Watch. The Lannisport City Watch got the morale increased from 7 to 6, which is good, or which, in my point of view, fits this 6-point unit level where they are. They also got the adaptive style change. Adaptive style is mostly discussed with the Golden Company swordsman, because everyone will remember there was that time when the Golden Company swordsman became so strong that they had to fix it a few months later. And then this unit was still incredible with Gregor Clegane. We also took a look at that, and now they changed adaptive style in general. So I think, so my point is, adaptive style, which it is right now for the Golden Company swordsman, is good. Now it feels like a 7-point unit, and you can't really exploit anymore to that extent, which you were able to do back like in season 3. And so that's good. For the LANNISTERS City Watch, adaptive style, or the change on adaptive style, that nerf on adaptive style, puts them in a position, in my point of view, in a tough position within the Lannister faction, especially when you think gold cloaks, especially when you think crossbows, and even if you think brigands. If you check the other 6-point units, I think they are too weak now, because the one ability they have, I can't remember the name. Let me check. It's that they passed the panic test.
Domineering Pride.
Domineering Pride. So Domineering Pride is in general a good thing, or it might be a good thing, but it's conditional, right? It depends on where you are on the battlefield. It depends how, how the situation is. So they have to rely on adaptive style. And adaptive style now with the change is, once it's good, when they get the second hit, I don't know. I can't really make good use of them when I build Lannister lists. How about you?
Yeah, I have trouble finding a reason, like a really compelling reason, to take them over even just like a 5-point halberdier unit. Like I see everything they do, I see could be done more reliably by just throwing Lannister halberdiers into your army. So I'm not a Lannister player. I'm only ever on the receiving end of them. They're one of my most hated factions, but I can't see what these guys are there for anymore. Before they got some play when the Golden Company swords had their, crazy adaptive style order, but now these guys just seem like a worse, more expensive version than of some other units in the faction. Like you said, why wouldn't you just take crossbowmen at 6 points, or why wouldn't we just take halberdiers at 5 points, or gold cloaks at 6 or 5 points, or mountainsmen for 6 points? There's more reliable infantry options than the LANNISTERS City Watch, unless there's some kind of a build around list that I'm not thinking of. But maybe people in the comments can tell us. But now you're going into like the 7-point infantry unit bracket. So
I'm thinking you could use them as like if you want to block something and use just the defensive order or the defensive style of their order. They're quicker than the guardsmen, but still, if you really want to block a path, or if you just want to sit on the token, you would take the guardsman for 5, right? And if you want to deal wounds, if you want to be like more offensive, then you would always pick the crossbows, right? Or the brigands, or whatever. So they just don't feel as good as it might be the intention of the developers. It does not really feel like a good unit now. And again, there might be an attachment, there might be some build that makes it work, but if you just look at them in a vacuum, I can't see a good place for them.
Maybe people can tell us in the comments if they've had some luck with them, or they know a good home for them.
They were incredible with Gregor, with the old Gregor, right? Because of the 10 dice and stuff. But this,
we even like theory crafted about them just completely bowling over the whole battlefield with Gregor. But now, I wouldn't even put him in charge of guarding a fruit stand at this point.
All right. So that's on the combat unit. So again, drop in the comments, since we don't know, you might know. So to NCUs, there is the one and only Pycelle. Pycelle is always that up and down and left and right. I don't know. Like he was there since 2021. He was in 99.8% of all lists, because he was reliably putting out this weekend token every time and made use of the zone. If he pulled letters, or if he got the letters, you did 2 weakens, right? Or two tokens out. So it was always in each and every list, because I also see it's great for the Lannisters to have such a unit, even though their defensive is quite good. But all of us know how strong the weaken token is, and so there was no really reason to change him out. So then last change, he got the or vulnerable, and now he got changed again to just weaken, but only 3 times with 3 tokens. So I think I really do not know what's happening in terms of game design. I think I mean, we see this bringing in those tokens. We see that with Varys, that he has tokens reduced to 3. We saw it on some on Illyrium Opatis. We saw it. So that I see a general theme of making, or Peter is another, right? Peter is another example. So I see it happening on a few NCUs, and I think Pycelle is still a great NCU even with 3 tokens, because a lot of times it's not as oppressive as before, but still when you really need it and the right moment and you need that weaken, you can deal it out reliably. Yeah, so it's not, it's a nerf in general, but I think like you won't really feel it on the battlefield. Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah,
on
one
Pycelle?
interesting change is that the text says when he activates, you can use a token. So he doesn't have to take a zone anymore. Before he had to claim a zone to give a unit a weaken token. So now you can use him as your pass NCU. If you have other NCUs that have abilities that need to be triggered off of claiming a zone, you can just have him as like your pass NCU. And now he just activates passes, but then also throws a weekend out. So yeah, I think it's kind of because of that, I think it's not so much of a nerf, because you now have like a reliable pass NCU that you can have to pass with. So yeah, it's like you said, he went from apparently not being played enough to then the next season he was apparently played too much. So now they're changing him again. So we'll see what this does to him, but I don't think it's going to have that big of an impact. It means that he's probably not going to throw out a weaken token round 1, because round 1, a lot of times you just do this, I weaken you, you take the bag, you unweaken yourself,
take
kind
it
of
off,
thing. The little dance or whatever. So I think it just means that the Lannister players will have to be more careful about when they're actually using the weaken tokens. They have to put some thought into when they're going to use the weaken tokens now, and they'll probably still end up using it at the right time. They just won't be spamming them everywhere anymore. So yeah, it's just, I think it's another indication that the developers want players to have more choice and have to think about their decisions a bit more. So I mean, overall, I think it's a fine change.
Yeah, that was the overall theme of the change, right? They wanted to bring down NCUs to an more equal level, and I think they did a great job in doing this. I was just thinking about the Night's Watch when you said, when you talked about passing, I was thinking about Sam and Gilly, right? Because Gilly, that Sam Gilly combo used to be an okayish one, right? Because you got her for free and you activated her once, but now there are even lists around where you can put just Sam and Gilly and another NCU in, and even though she's just 1 point, you can activate her each and every round. So it does not cost you an activation. I mean, she can only make use of a tactic zone once, but still you have this 1 activation. A lot of times as a Night's Watch player, you have 2 pass tokens. So it got way better in terms of use. So I think in general the developers did a great job in bringing all NCUs more to one level. I think there's still some where you think those are still dominant in a faction, but still, right? I think it's a really good start. So Qyburn, which cannot be fielded in an army containing Varys, still, I really get that from a thematic standpoint, right? I used to think, because the old Qyburn had this like anti-Varys thing going, right? It's not after resolving that zone's effect, I can do X. It's before you do your tactic zone, I will spend a token and it will get weaker or worse, or you know. So, and I totally got that from a rules perspective, that players should not do that in one list, right? And wasn't allowed. I also get it from a thematic standpoint. Now, the Qyburn is totally different as an NCU. I mean, completely, right? There's no like context to tactic zones. He has 3 tokens, and he can use those tokens to basically deal so to deal out vulnerable tokens. But potentially they can, or he can put out vulnerable tokens to 2 enemy combat units, which is quite good, right? Yeah, so in certain lists, I think he can be highly efficient, especially when I think about the honor guard, right? Because they can make use of the vulnerable. They can just hit and use the vulnerable, right? So and to deal out 2 might be good. So Qyburn in general, I like the idea where he is right now. I just, I'm not really sure. I like the idea of having this anti-Varys. I really did not get used to him yet, but I think when you play an aggressive list like Gregor, or like other lists that go into this charging and killing, then I think Qyburn is a great option as your NCU.
Yeah, I agree. I was a little sad to see his little anti-Varys thing go away, but then I was looking more at the effects, and none of them were all that impressive, which is one of the reasons he wasn't really ever taken.
Yeah.
So, you know, he kind of lost out on the thematic vibe that he had, but now I think he actually has a more useful ability, because throwing out 2 vulnerable tokens is pretty big. And you know, you've got what's his name, you got Pycelle throwing out the weakened tokens, you've got him potentially spamming out the vulnerable tokens, so you could reserve his ability until toward the end of like before the tactics board is almost full, and pretty severely punish your opponent for claiming a certain zone, or even top around. You know, your opponent's going to want to take, you know, maybe the combat zone or a maneuver or the wealth zone, and you flip one of his orders, and then now when you get your turn and you attack them back, you're going to be able to do a bunch of more damage because you've put vulnerable tokens where you need them. So
totally. What I also see, which the Lannisters did not have before, was he's a really good like tech piece to protect the zones that Lannisters really need to have a punch, which is crown and bags, right? Because he can always choose 2 zones. And I think a lot of times Lannister players will go into, hey, you know, you can't go on the crown, you cannot go on bags. Because when I play against Lannisters, a lot of times, even though it's not highly beneficial for me, but I still tend to do, you know, I will just grab the bags, I will just grab the crown, so nothing really bad happens. When you think about Kevin, when you think about Joffrey, when you think about, there are so many, and even the base deck,
counterplot,
the whole base deck makes big use of both zones. So I think this change is a good change in terms of like being or building up a tech piece, and also tap into the general theme of the faction, which is control, right? Which is control of tactics cards, control of NCUs, control of the tactics board. So it plays into that, and I like it. So I think we will see him way more, due to this fact that he can make those zones really unattractive or like unappealing to your opponent.
And hopefully, if we see him more, we'll see the big boy Robert Strong some more. I know everybody in the community wants more Robert
right?
Strong.
Yeah, right.
So
right, right. He's
I want
3
to see
points, right?
see Robert Strong out there.
Is he 3 points?
I think he's 3 points. Yeah, he has resilience and
3 points
+2 wounds. Yeah,
plus 2 wounds. So just put him in the pyromancers and let's go.
Yeah, put him in pyromancers and just send him in.
Send them in. Just send, let's see what they can do.
May I have the honor of presenting the newest member of the King's Guard?
All right, so that's on Qyburn with his little doves. All right, last one, Tommen Baratheon. Small change, but still considerable. Tommen got changed in he can't pull fealty anymore, which is which used to be, or which is a heal card. So he's not able to do that. Instead he can pull intrigue and subterfuge. So when I saw it first, I was instantly thinking about, did NCUs become too strong in the current meta versus the Lannister faction? Is there a need that a Lannister needs to be a reliable way to pull intrigue and subterfuge and play it out? Is there a bigger reason behind it, or what is the reason, right? So I do not really know. I think intrigue and subterfuge is a stronger card in the deck, so I consider this a buff to Tommen. I just do not see where he beats his mother. When when you build the NCUs, I cannot really see him over Cersei or him over Pycelle. So yeah, what's your take? I don't know.
I kind of like it. I mean, again, I'm kind of speaking against my own interests here because I hate playing against Lannister players, but I think,
don't say that.
Like one of the most annoying things is when I'm activating an NCU and I have this plan for what I'm going to do, and then they just throw intrigue and subterfuge out, and I'm just like, my plan just totally went in the toilet. But now, now that Tommen can pull it, when he's going to use, when he uses the order, he's going to use the order. You see that he controls the crown or whatever, so he goes and that player digs that card out and he has it in his hand, and now he has it in his hand. So now it's like, when you activate an NCU, it's like you're like shaking your hand, like pick up your NCU because they're gonna blank it. So it's like more of this Lannister mind game stuff. But like before, it was kind of a little bit of a surprise when you got your NCU totally screwed. But now, it's coming. Like that they have it in their hand because they just used an order to get it. So now it's like every time you activate an NCU, you're wondering, is this the activation that they're going to just blank my high value NCU? And it's going to motivate the player's behavior that's playing into the Lannister player. Also, intrigue and subterfuge can hand out a weaken token, so that's another potential source for weaken tokens for the Lannister player. So I think it's a good change. There are powerful NCUs out there, so this is definitely an anti-NCU tech piece. So it could be that people start running Tommen in one of their tournament lists or something if they're playing into a faction that has some NCUs they really don't want to deal with, or that they want to proactively deal with. So I think it's a good change, because before I don't think he was really run all that much at all before. I think we need more kids on the tactics board. We have Miss Andy out there, Tommen. We need little Tommen out there.
We need more kids in the game.
In tactics we have the little birds coming out. Kids will be like running around stabbing people or something. So let's get used to it now in the miniatures game.
I mean, like what I always see, like from a Night's Watch perspective, what a lot of times happens when you bring Aemon, right? There's at least, or in a lot of games I had it, there is this one particular moment where you are able to deal quite a big amount of wounds to a unit, to a Night's Watch unit, And if Bags is open and Amon is out, then this can be a crucial moment, not only mentally, but but also for the whole game. So when you put out this Amon and S sword happening a lot of times, that players did not see the Bags and they were just so eager to kill, you know, a Ranger Hunter unit or a Swarm Brothers unit or whatever, and you have Amon out and you put it out. So to have Intrigue and Subterfuge at that very moment is
it's
just
a
great.
significant emotional event for a Night's Watch player to have Amon get blanked on you.
Yes, that is highly emotional. Yeah, so yeah, again, so I think in general I really like the changes, and let's end the video with like my overall view on the Lannisters is Lannisters were like always been in a pretty good spot in terms of balancing. I see them being a very, very well designed faction, even before. So even in 2021, I was like, okay, this unit is, or this army is a control faction. It is highly focusing on shutting stuff down, and they were always able to. And with the changes now from season 1, 2, 3, 4, I see them being really, really well balanced and highly adaptive to their opponent. There are high aggressive lists, control lists, even lists with the high what's his name, High Sparrow, the High Sparrow list with the Warrior Sons. There are so different takes on how to play the Lannisters, and I see them in a really, really well designed spot when you compare them to other factions. So I really can't say, I think that's the reason why there is not a lot of change within this faction, because they're really well designed.
Yeah, no, I agree.
What is your take on the Lannisters?
I think in this season of the game, there isn't any like clear-cut autopilot list for Lannisters right now. You know, Kevin Crossbows is gone, so that's not skewing the kind of like the metrics on the Lannister faction. But as a control faction, I think they are like a very high skill faction that for you to get the most out of the faction, you really need to know when to play your cards, when to use certain abilities, kind of like the Martells. But I think Lannisters are maybe struggling a little bit just to formulate like the right offensive strategy. They have their control cards and their kind of defensive tech a little bit, but I think they're maybe struggling to figure out how they need to build lists to really take the fight to the enemy. At least that's what I've seen in season 4 so far, just from my small amount of kind of anecdotal experience playing into Lannisters. And season 4, I know in the tournament in Hamburg that we had recently, I played I think 2 or 3 Lannister players, and the control stuff was just as strong as ever, but it felt that on the offensive side there was a little bit of work that still needed to be done on Lannister. So I think they need to kind of reevaluate their position in season 4, but they have the tools to get there. So just have to see. I mean, well, maybe people can post in the comments what kind of list they've had success with, or what they see as the backbone of the Lannister offensive line. And maybe it's just knights, you know, maybe it's still the knights, and knights supported by some crossbows and some halberds or something. I don't know.
What I really see or saw after season 4 was they changed the tactics deck, especially Subjugation of Power, got changed into like dealing out a panic test just off the card, which was not the case before. So you were just doing a morale test, and if you failed, your unit was basically shut down in terms of, or the abilities got shut down. Now you're also triggering a panic test, which all again plays into stuff like Hear Me Roar and other stuff. So they also got the tools to basically zap your opponent across the battlefield, even though you're not in real in real combat. So I really like that about they got buffed to a certain extent just from the deck, just from the tactics deck. It got stronger. So yeah, I think what they lack maybe on there's not like, except the knights, there's not this 7-point, like I mean we have the honor guard, but the honor guard still has this weird faction
yeah, they have to like
token thing
eat
going.
tokens to do anything.
Yeah. So still great unit because all the stats are great, but there is not this one particular unit except the knights, which is really like going down the middle and like, you know, taking all the hits and killing stuff. So, but
Yeah.
I think the Lannisters don't need this unit because they have all the tools around it. They have a great base deck which shuts down a lot of your stuff. So they don't really need this kind of like high aggressive unit which does the work. And you know, if you think about it, you still have Gregor and Pyromancers and stuff, which is like, especially for newer players, totally a really difficult thing to deal with. So again, I think they're in a really, really good spot. All right, so I think that's it on the Lannisters. As Randall said, if we missed anything, if you think otherwise, if you wanna share your thoughts on a change or a certain unit, just drop it down in the comments below. And yeah, Randall, any final words from you?
Nope, just looking forward to continuing the series.
Yeah, that's gonna be great. I think one of the next one will be Starks, right? Starks is one that really interests me. Yeah, but that will be another video. So we will see all of you next time, and until we do, roll those crits.
Come for the hits and stay for the crits.